Hi, welcome to Midpointe, a place where we can share encouragement from this last Sunday's sermon at Crosspoint Church. This last Sunday, Pastor Garrett continued to preach on the first chapter of 1 Peter. Here are the verses that he shared.
Verse 10 through 12, the verses we're focusing on today. Concerning this salvation, the prophets who prophesied about the grace that was to be yours searched and inquired carefully, inquiring what person or time the Spirit of Christ in them was indicating when he predicted the sufferings of Christ and the subsequent glories. It was revealed to them that they were serving not themselves but you, and the things that are now announced to you through those who preach the good news to you by the Holy Spirit sent from heaven, things in which angels long to look.
These prophets, who were major players / characters in the Old Testament, were used by God to be his mouthpiece. If God had something specific to say to a person or a people group, he would send a prophet. Think of Nathan when he came to tell King David that he had done wrong. Prophets also talked about future stuff. Think of Isaiah when he said all those things like, "And his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace." He was obviously talking about Jesus. Although at the time, when the prophets said these things or wrote these things down, they didn't quite understand what was going on. They knew something special was being communicated. So that's where in 1 Peter it says these prophets of old, they looked into this stuff. They're like, well, this is very special stuff. I wonder what it is. But Peter says that they realized that they weren't going to be around when all this stuff came to pass. They realized that they were prophesying for the benefit of those in the future. Now, of course, the prophets did benefit from Jesus coming. Everyone does. But they weren't going to be there. They weren't going to be alive when all this happened. It's like if you have to go and tell all your friends there's a birthday party going on, but you're not invited. Being happy for someone else's blessing is a good character quality to have. I was watching a commercial recently where I think it was about, you need to work out, you need to go to the gym or something, and they said that you're the main character. You've always been the main character. And that's so dumb because that commercial goes out to millions of people. How can everyone be the main character? But we do that. We think we're the main character, but we're not. I mentioned last week in the midpoint that I kept finding verses that said the phrase, "for the sake of your name." Like, he leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And just yesterday, I found another verse that had that phrase. God is the main character, and he tells us to love each other. That's why the prophets did what they did. They knew this was from God. They knew it would benefit people, and so they played their part in proclaiming these things. And that's why we should share the gospel today. Are we going to see the outcome of every time we share the gospel? I'm not even going to answer that question because it doesn't matter. It's not about us. It is about doing what the Lord wants. Knowing this is a very special thing. And of course, people are going to respond. Of course, some people won't respond. But it's just our job, like the prophets, to share it. I was trying to think of some other examples of us doing something that we're not going to really benefit from. And I thought of parents. Parents pour into their kid, and they're not sure what is going to stick. They're not sure what their kid understands fully. You give the kid advice, but maybe they don't fully understand what you said until 10 years later. But your job is to still share these things. God can do all the work. In your kid's life, in anyone's life, save them. It's all God. Our job is to just share because it's open for everyone. The prophets understood that. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all to the glory of God. I encourage you to leave a comment with your thoughts about the sermon, about what I just said. But until next time, God bless.